Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my first Unity tutorial. We're going to be looking at XML serialization. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So I've got this little game that I put together just to test serialization with. If we go ahead and hit play, just click and it makes shapes. You can just pick colors. You can change which shape it makes, like that. And if you click on the shape, then you can change its color. So, pretty simple. And we're just going to save the shapes and load them with XML. Now, there's a few different ways that you can do this. I'm just going to show one. They all have their advantages and disadvantages, but I'm going to show my personal favorite. First of all, let's add some buttons. We'll just go UI, button, there. In fact, do that. Duplicate. Call this guy save button. This guy load button. Save. Load. Okay. So, we're going to go to our friend the Sprite Manager. This is the class that I've got set up to manage all the little pictures on the screen. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about how I set up the game, because I really just want to get right into the XML stuff. So, I'm going to go Edit, Outlining, Collapse to Definitions, just to get all of that stuff shrunken out of the way. I'm going to add a couple of functions here. Public void save sprites and public void load sprites. Okay. And I like to save first before I load, just because I think it's easier that way, so we'll do that. Okay. So first thing, we're going to want to get all of our sprites. We're definitely going to want to loop through them all. Now, I've got them stored in these two dictionaries, so we're just going to go through one of those. Probably sprite to renderer map. For each var s in sprite to renderer map. Now, if we hover over that, actually we want docked keys. If we hover over this, we see it's class mySprite. Now that's a little class that I put together. It's right here. And all it is a shape, which is this enum, diamond, triangle, or hex, a vector2 position, and a color. So really simple little class. We're just going to save all of those. But before we loop through everything, we need to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to need to come up here using system.xml.link is the namespace that all of the saving stuff we're going to use is in. And we'll probably need using system.io. So I'll just throw that in while we're up. Okay, so the first thing is we say var doc equals new x document. So that's an XML document. It's a fresh one. Say doc dot add. What does add first do? I don't know what add first does. Actually, I haven't done saving with xml.link before. So let me just pull up Google. And I'm doing this in the video because I find that much of programming, what makes you good at programming, is often just being good at looking things up. So we're just going to Google XML to link, basic queries, and the overview. There we go. Now, this just uses X elements. I kind of want to use an X document. So let's just look up X document and see. Listen for the components and usage from X. Down to remarks. Add. Okay, I think that's what we want to do. Let's see. Root. So I know when loading, root is what I would use. But that is a read only, so. Okay. I'll look over here. You know what? Let's just use X elements, because it'll be simpler. So we say X element, and this is going to be our root element, so we're just going to name it sprites. We're still going to call it dot. Well, let's call it root. Root. Okay. So we have root. Now, for every sprite, we're going to say var e equals new X element sprite root.add e. Right? We'll just double check that. Yeah, that should work. Let's test. Let's just say debug debug.log root dot string. Should probably work. Yeah. Just do that. Now we go back to Unity and we hook that function up. Save button, on click, drag in the sprite manager, dot save sprites. Play, click save. Okay, so there's our sprites. We make a few, click save. There it is. Kind of have to make my console a bit bigger. Oh, sprite, sprite, sprite. So that is perfect. So, go back to our code, get rid of that. Now, what we want to do is we want to save the shape, color, and position of every sprite, which is super easy. Just say var, we're going to call it e2 equals new. In fact, we don't even need to do that. We're just going to say e.add. In fact, we probably don't even have to do that. We can probably, comma, yep, just do this so we've got a name, new X element called shape. We'll do shape first, and its value is going to be s.shape.toString, comma, new X element color, and its value is going to be s.color. Let's see. There an easy. Looks like toString again. Comma. New X element position s dot position dot toString. And for this one, I don't remember the code. C# round trip format. R. So format R. Now what that will do is that will output the string in a format that guarantees it gets read back in as the same number. That's what this R is doing. It's for round trip. So boom, we've now saved all of our sprites. Now we have to do something with that X element. What we're going to do is we're just going to save it in paragraphs. You could write this to a file. In fact, let's write it to a file. That way I can show how to do that. I'm going to go system.io.file, and we included it, so actually we can just do file. First of all, let's make sure that the folder we want to put it in exists. So I'm going to say directory.exists. Do we have to do that? I don't think we even have to do that if we're writing. I think you have to do that if you're reading. So let's do file.write all text. For the path, we're going to do %, local app data, %. And that's a folder that is unique to the currently logged in user. So every user will get their own save data. It's also it's just a really good place to put save files in general because it's unique to the logged in user. You can write there without any problems. And yeah, it's just a good one. In fact, actually, Unity makes it easier. If I remember correctly, we can just do path. Where is it? It's application. Application dot data path. No, that's the games folder. That's not the one we want. Where is it? Not persistent data path. Well, let's turn to Google again. Boom. There we go. Unity app data folder. So this is data folder, which we already determined is not the one we want. Does persistent data path do what we want? No. Let's see what the wiki has to say. If it'll ever load. Okay, here we go. This one found it. System.environment.specialfolder.application data. Okay, let's go back to here. We'll say var dir equals system.environment.get folder path system.environment.specialfolder local application data. Now I don't actually know where this will point on a Mac. Let's see. Yeah, this answer doesn't actually say. Well, maybe if there's anybody using a Mac, they can tell me where this points. And we're going to say dir equals that. And we're going to say path.combine dir and sprite game. /save data .xml. And that's not going to be dir. That's going to be var file. And I guess we use a /. And then we come down, we say write all text to file. For the string contents, we say root dot to string. And that should save. Let's find out if it does. Hit play. Make a couple diamonds, a triangle, and a green hexagon. Click save. Oh, could not find part of the path. Okay. I guess that means that we need to make sure the folder exists. I thought we didn't. So we'll say dir equals path.combine sprite game. Sorry. Dir, comma, sprite game. If directory.exists dir be formatted. That's if not directory.exists, then directory.create directory dir. And then file equals path.combine save data.xml file.writeAllText. Okay. Unity, hit play, make a couple shapes, like so. Save. Okay, it didn't throw any errors. Let's see if it worked. We'll go find that folder, which, as I said before, is %local app data %. Those. Find. There's sprite game, save data.xml. No, I don't want to update Notepad++. And there it is. See? Worked beautifully. So we can minimize that, close that folder. Now for loading. We go to load sprites. Now the first thing that when we load we want to do is clear everything. So let's see. I have a function for delete selected sprite. Okay. For each, this is just gonna kill all the sprites. For each var r in rendered sprite map dot keys select sprite by renderer r delete selected sprite. And actually we need to make a copy of this, so to list and using system.link. System.link. And all that does is it makes a nice, that just forces it to make a copy of this collection so that we're not modifying the dictionary while we loop over the dictionary, because that would cause problems. So we clear everything that is already there, just because that seems like a thing to do when you load. And then comes the easier part. So now what we do is we say var doc equals x document dot load. Give it a string, which in this case we're going to copy this lovely bit of text. Let's say var file save data.xml. And we're just going to see real quick if file dot exists file, and again if not file dot exists, then just debug dot log error couldn't find save data to load, and return. So we load file, and we say var root equals doc.root if, and then we just for each var e in root dot a children. I know there's a descendants. Elements, I think, is the one that we want. Let's see. Nodes. Nodes might be the one we want. I think it is elements, though. Elements. specifically we want elements type sprite. Now we just say var color equals color dot. Let's see, is there an easy... Nope. There is not an easy built-in load color from string function. That is annoying. Well, maybe there is. Var color equals new color. Maybe it's a new color. Nope. Well, let's go look at how do those get written out. Those get written out like that. Okay, that's easy enough. Let's actually do this a little bit differently up here. It'll be easier since there's no quick and easy loaded color from a string function. It'll be easier if we save this color a little bit differently. R, comma, s.color.r, comma, s.color.r, new x element g, comma, s.color.g, new x element RGB, s.color.b. Let's test that real quick. Just make a sprite, click save, and there it is, RGB. And actually, we will toString just to be absolutely certain that we can get it back out. Actually, we're not even going to bother with that, because I'm going to show you something pretty neat. So, and actually, let's do that with position too. Because it will also be easier to load in, I think. X s.position.x y s.position.y. We'll test that again real quick. Make a bunch diamonds, some blue ones, some green triangles, and some red hexagons. Save. So, this XML. Okay, back to our code. So, let's say var shape equals, and for this one we use system.enum.parse type of shape, and then for the string we just give it e.element shape dot value. And we have to cast that so that it'll be the correct type. Yep. Okay. Then we say var color equals new color. For this one, we need RGB, and we just say e dot element color dot element R, and we can actually cast that to a float, and it will grab the value and try to parse it as a float. And do the same thing again, e.element color dot element G float e.element color dot element B. Give us a color. Then we say var position equals new vector 2. And we do much the same thing. Float e dot element position dot element x comma float e dot element position dot element y. Now we say var sprite equals new mySprite shape position color. And we just say spawn sprite. Oh, okay. We'll do selected color equals color, selected shape equals shape, spawn sprite, and position. There. You don't actually need that line. That's just the way that I've set up the sprite manager. Alright, let's see if that works. Come over to Unity, let it compile, hit play, load. It clearly did not work. So let's see why. Debug.log root dot root. Let's see what that gives us. Oh, you know why it didn't work? Let's get rid of that debug. We don't need it. It didn't work because we didn't hook up our button. Just go little plus. There we go. Sprite manager. Sprite manager. Load sprites. Now it'll work. Click the button and boom! They loaded. So there you go. That is saving and loading using XML to link. I guess it's link to XML. This is my favorite way to do XML saving and loading, just because this code, like you can see, this is really simple, easy to read, easy to write. And in the saving, like, this is really simple. And if this gets confusing, looking at like, oh, there's trying to all the commas and new X elements all nested, like, I can see how that could get confusing. So fortunately, you could do it differently. You could say E. I'm going to call it E2 just so that it doesn't give any errors. New X element sprite. Stop there. And then say var child equals new X element shape s.shape.toString e2.add child, and child equals new X element color and then var grandchild equals new X element r s.color.r child.add grandchild. Grandchild equals new X element g s.color.g. Child.add grandchild. Grandchild equals new X element b s.color.b. Child.add grandchild. e2.add child. And so on and so forth for position and anything else you want to do. And you could do this with loops too. Like say that our sprites had a list of strings attached to them, like names or something. I don't know. You could loop and just add things. It's really simple. The one downside to this method is that it does require, you basically have to have the entire XML document in memory at one time for both saving and loading, so it can be a little memory intensive if you're saving and loading a lot of data. Most programs, it probably won't be a problem because modern computers have a lot of memory and it's just text. It's not like you're saving giant images or anything. But that is the one caveat for this method. Anyway, there you go. Hopefully that helps. Have fun.